Hello class, good morning. Our topic for today is calculating time between time zones. So the equator is an imaginary line around the earth which is equally distant from the North Pole and South Pole. So this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. So this line is what we call the equator, and this line from North Pole to South Pole is the prime meridian. So next is the longitude lines, also called the meridian. These are the imaginary lines that run perpendicularly to the lines of the latitude. They all intersect at the North Pole and the South Pole. So the international agreement that the meridian line through the Greenwich, England is currently assigned by the value of 0 degrees longitude. This is also referred to as the prime meridian. The lines of longitude are used to measure the time zones. Since there are 360 degrees of longitude in one circulation, and there are 24 hours in a day, then this means that an hour would be 15 degrees longitude. That is okay. So we can get that 15 degrees longitude by, since in one day there are 24 hours, and in one rotation 360 degrees. Of course, 1 hour, and we are looking for this one, okay? The degree. So if we're going to write this one, so 360 divided by 24 hour is equal to n divided by 1 hour. So then you can solve, you can do the cross multiplication. So 360 divided by 24, then the answer would be 15 degrees in 1 hour. So it means that 1 hour is equivalent to 15 degrees longitude. So we have an example here. The latitude and longitude of the Philippines are 13 degrees north and 122 east. If you divide 122 by 15, you would get the number of hours, which is about 8 hours. This is the reason why the time zone in the Philippines is composed of UTCM slash GMT plus 8. So where did we get 15? So 15 is 1 hour is equivalent to 15 longitude. So that is already constant. Okay? Divide it by 15. Next is, this means that the time in is 8 hours ahead of UTC and GMT. Since our time is UTC plus 8, then it means that we are 8 hours ahead of UTC and GMT Philippines. Okay? For example, if the date and time here in the Philippines is February 8, 2021, 800 hours, okay? The prime meridian, or in the UTC and GMT, the time there is February 8, 2021, 000 hours. So the meaning of UTC is Coordinated Universal Time, while for the GMT is Greenwich Mean Time. I will repeat, UTC is Coordinated Universal Time, while GMT is Greenwich Mean Time. So you can get the time at every location on Earth if you know how many degrees it is or west. It is It is east and or west by Greenwich. So the Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, is clock time at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London. It is the same all year round. It's not affected by the summertime or daylight saving time. So this is the GMT clock. So next example is calculate the time zone of Tokyo, Japan. So the latitude and longitude of Tokyo is 35 degrees and 41 minutes north and 139 degrees and 42 minutes east respectively. So how can we get the time zone? So again, 139 divided by 15. So 139 divided by 15, the answer is 9.26. This means that the time zone of the Tokyo, Japan is UTC GMT plus 9. So the quotient, okay, you will add it to the UTC or GMT. Just like here, UTC plus GMT, UTC GMT plus 9 hours. That is the time zone of Japan, UTC plus 9 hours. The world is divided into 24 main time zones. These time zones are exactly 1 hour at apart, and every 15 longitude difference represents 1 hour difference in time. So let's proceed to international dateline. Countries compute their local time based on their longitude and position in the international dateline. The IDL is the imaginary longitude line located about 180 east of the Greenwich meridian. So the IDL is shown as an even black vertical line in the time zone map. It marks the area where the date changes by 1 day. Traveling east across the IDL results in 1 day or 1 being subtracted, and traveling west results being 1 day added. However, the line is not straight to avoid dividing countries in two. So this means that when you go to the east, subtracted by 1. Then when you travel to the west, and add by 1 day. So this is the international dateline. China and India use single time zones even though the border of their territory exceeds 15 degrees of longitude. So it means that if they exceed their supposed to be, okay, some part of the country will have different time zone, but in this case, okay, the China the China measures around 4,800 kilometers from its western border shared with Pakistan to the East China Sea in the east. So it covers more than 60 degrees of longitude. China crosses 5 time zones. However, all of the China observers observes the same time zone, which is UTC plus 8. So it is stated there that here that they cover um 5 zones. So supposed to be they have different time zone, but China use only one time zone, which is UTC plus 8. So that is what we call the China Standard Time. So these are the different time zones in the world. So of course the Greenwich Mean Time is UTC London, UTC plus 1 hour India, UTC plus 5.5 Hong Kong, UTC plus 8 Malaysia, UTC plus 8 Singapore, UTC plus 8 Japan, UTC plus 9 South Korea, UTC plus 9 Philippines is UTC plus 8. So let's proceed to example. Okay, how can we get the date and time in Manila? Okay, or what is the time in London, New Delhi, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Tokyo when the date and time in Manila is August 1, 2 p.m. So first is we need to get the UTC. So since our time is 2 p.m., then we should get first the UTC by what? Subtracting 8 hours or going back 8 hours because we are ahead 8 hours from, okay, we are we are 8 hours ahead from Greenwich Mean Time. So we should go back 8 hours from 2 p.m. So if we will go back 8 hours from 2 p.m., then the time in the Greenwich Mean Time would be 6 a.m. So you will base your answer now in London, New Delhi, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Tokyo. Since the Greenwich Mean Time is 6 a.m., okay? How did I get 6 a.m.? From 2 p.m., you will just go back 8 hours, okay? Move back 8 hours. So, you get 6 a.m. For London, since the time is UTC plus 1, then 6 a.m. plus 1 hour, 7 a.m. In New Delhi, UTC plus 5.5 hours, then 6 plus 5.5 hours is 11:30 a.m. So, Hong Kong UTC plus 8, then 6 a.m. plus 8 hours, then the time would be 2 p.m. For Singapore UTC plus 8, the same with Hong Kong, 2 p.m. Then in Tokyo, UTC plus 9, okay, 6 a.m. plus 9 hours, the time would be 3 p.m. So if you will get the time zone of different country, you should know first the Greenwich Mean Time. So we have an example here. Our departure time from Auckland on Monday is 23:47 hours. Our Manila time is 06:28 hours on Tuesday. How long is our travel time from New Zealand to Manila? So, so this is the table. Departure time in New Zealand is 23:47 hours. So, next is the arrival time. Okay, in Manila time is 10:28 hours. While for Manila GMT plus 8 hours, the departure time is 19:37 hours and the arrival time is 6:28 hours. So since this hour is nearest to, okay, the bracket again, you will go back to the bracket of time. I think that is on page 316 to 317 of your book. So 347 hours. Okay. 347 hours to midnight. Or when you convert 2347 hours in 12-hour clock, that would be 11:47 p.m. Then 11:47 p.m. Okay. Why we use midnight? Because going back to the problem, 6:20 6:28 hours on Tuesday, it means that this one is morning. So you will compute from morning to midnight, from PM to midnight, then midnight to morning to get the exact travel time. Because you will not just simply subtract the departure and the travel time, because you go to other country which has the same or other time zone. So 11:47 to 12 midnight, then 13 minutes, okay? The time elapsed would be 13 minutes. Then from 12 midnight to 10:28 a.m., which is your arrival time in Manila, then the travel time or the elapsed time would be 10 hours and 28 minutes. So how did we get this 10:28 hours, since the only given in the problem is 23:47 hours and 6:28 hours? Simply look at the time zone, GMT plus 12 hours. Manila is GMT plus 8 hours. It means that the New Zealand time is 4 hours ahead of us. So we just add 4 hours to 6:28 hours. It becomes 10:28 hours. So going back here, from 11:47 p.m. to 12 midnight, 13 minutes to 12 midnight to a 10:28 a.m. Then the elapsed time there would be 10 hours and 28 minutes. So if you will add the two elapsed time, 13 minutes plus 10 hours plus 28 minutes, the travel time would be 10 hours plus 41 minutes. Do not okay, directly subtract these two, or else you will get the wrong answer. For your activity, answer explore on pages 328 to 329. Take a photo of your answers and send it via private message. Deadline February 9.